I've been looking for a house with no walls or no whispers, no hiding places, no secret sister. Been looking for a house that won't shelter a lie, no tear-stained past or reason to cry. I wanna live in a house of love.
Greetings and welcome to our first taping of Empowering Women Everywhere. And we are so excited to be involved with this. Empowering Women Everywhere is a special program where women who are working to improve situations and conditions on the planet and in the community are able to come and showcase their work and get support and highlight what they're doing in the community. And today, we're very, very happy to have one of my favorite people here, KellyAnn Kostyal, who's Executive Director of Safe Homes of Orange County, and she's going to be our first guest on our program. KellyAnn, welcome.
Thank you, Nina. I'm honored to be here, especially as your first guest, so thank you so much for having me. So as you were saying, Safe Homes has been around. We will be celebrating 30 years next year.
Oh, my.
It's a double-edged sword, I guess you would say, right? Celebrating. But the fact that it was started at a woman's kitchen table, Lisa Daly, and her, like you, needing to give back to the community and recognizing a need and creating an organization from the inside of her kitchen table to what is now a 40-employee agency that is operating out of all of Orange County and working under the same mission to end domestic violence through education, prevention, and services.
Tell us a little bit about the wonderful work that Safe Homes of Orange County is doing today.
So we've been almost here for 30 years. Next year will be our 30th anniversary. Hard to believe, but we have been working tirelessly, those before me and those that will come after me, to end domestic violence through education, prevention, and services.
And what is your role at Orange County
I have been
Safe Homes?
Very lucky to be the executive director for the last 5.5 years and lead an exceptional team of staff in the work that we're doing.
And what's the overall mission of Safe Homes?
The overall mission is to end domestic violence through education, prevention, and direct services. And then recently, because of the work that we're doing, have also started taking on human trafficking and addressing the issue of human trafficking in Orange County.
What programs do you have now that people can become involved with?
Well, believe it or not, we started around a kitchen table 30 years ago. A woman by the name of Lisa Daly realized the need and didn't have the resources and decided to start in the kitchen table, and now we have a plethora of programs and almost 40 staff, but we provide shelter. We also have a non-residential program, which is our largest program of our agency, and under that non-residential program we have a family justice center. We have advocates co-located in the courts, as well as child protective services, the district attorney's office. We have an advocate out in Port Jervis, as well as providing emergency needs, crisis care.
And what is your role at Orange County at Safe Homes?
I have been the executive director at Safe Homes for a little over 5.5 years and have the distinct honor of leading an exceptional team, and really couldn't do the work that we do without the team that we have.
And what's the overall mission of Safe Homes?
Well, we have always worked to educating the community around what domestic violence is, then also providing services to those impacted by domestic violence, and have recently started taking on the issue of human trafficking and really recognizing that both domestic violence and human trafficking are rooted in that larger issue around power and control.
Well, actually, basically, it must have been about 3 years ago when we first talked about wanting to reach the community to talk about the programs that you were doing and how, if somebody felt that they may be a victim of domestic violence, how would they get in touch with you?
Right, I think we were talking about the best way. A lot of times, unfortunately, people don't need us till they need us.
Right.
And so how do we raise awareness with all of the community so that when someone potentially needed help, that everyone would know how to find us? and it was really looking at community education and, in a sense, infiltrating, not only infiltrating businesses and organizations, but schools, colleges, education, elementary schools, and then getting the word out there that the basic minimum that they would know our 24-hour hotline.
Right.
And
And
how to
what
reach
is that
us.
hotline? What is that number?
It's 1-888-503-HOPE or 1-888-503-4673.
Now, if they call, and, I would imagine that if somebody was being manipulated and controlled and they were frightened about the person that they were, living with, that they would be concerned about calling.
Sure.
Do you run into that, and how do you deal with that?
Well, the best thing is that, yes, I mean, we're a nonprofit agency, and our basic mission is about empowering people to make their own choices, informed choices. And so we don't tell anybody what to do. And with that, we're also a confidential agency. So you don't even have to tell us your name when you call us. We really want to create a safe place for anyone to be able to call and ask any question they need to ask. And even if we were to provide you services, it's around confidentiality, and you make the informed choice on what information we share or don't share.
Okay.
Consent.
And now if somebody is, that you said that this is for Orange County. If somebody is located in another county, Manhattan County, if they're in Westchester or Dutchess or Sullivan, who should they contact, or how would they find out who their person would be to get in touch with?
Well, we say no call is a wrong call. And if we're not the right agency, then we will put you in contact with the right agency. But the uniqueness around domestic violence is that we work not only on the national level, but on the state level and even on the local level, with collaborating with our sister organizations to ensure that victims really are met where they're at. And so there could be times where a victim at Dutchess County may be better served in Orange County around safety, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so the uniqueness around the work that we do is that we're really meeting victims where they are, and then just with their help figuring out the best safety plan for them.
So it could be completely confidential,
Yes,
and the help that they get could be completely confidential.
absolutely. The only thing is that we're mandated reporters, but the bottom line is that working with an individual victim, it's confidential, and they're the ones that control their information.
Right. And as far as the location, if someone does go into a safe home, is that completely confidential?
Yeah, we work with each individual that's staying with us around not only their own safety, but those that we're serving with them. And so we work to ensure that we can maintain the confidentiality of the location before, after, and even during their stay, not only for the individual themselves, but the other people that we're working with.
So you're in a situation where you're able to give them emergency assistance if they need it. And if it's just a situation where they're not really at risk, but they want to make changes in their relationship, you're able to offer counseling and that?
We meet victims where they're at. So it could be someone who is ready to leave. It could be someone who left 10 years ago and just wants supportive services. Or it could be someone that's currently not in the place to be able to leave. I think it's important to bring up that 3 out of 4 women who are murdered by their intimate partner are murdered when they're attempting to leave. So leaving is a very dangerous time. And so we have to accept the fact that oftentimes victims have to make really difficult choices to save their own lives. And that may mean that staying is the only option.
Right. Okay, so what inspired you to get involved in safe homes in the first place?
What inspired me? I think I have had the fortunate opportunity of meeting amazing, resilient women in my life, and it was finally a place, as I became more ingrained in this work and the advocacy piece, that I felt more at home and among more like-minded people in addressing systemic oppression, and a place where we could work collaboratively and collectively, where everybody deserves to live free of violence.
So what you're saying is there's amazing people working in your organization.
I am very blessed. I'd like to say I have some of the best and brightest.
Now, if somebody wants to get involved and wants to help out, do you have opportunities for them to get involved with these amazing people that you're working with?
We have a really incredible volunteer program. And so volunteering can look very different for everyone. And the level of volunteering is really up to the individual. So we really encourage people to contact us, fill out a volunteer application that you can get online, but also fax are sent to you. And then you meet with our volunteer coordinator and get an idea of what your interest would be. It could be working directly with clients. It could be helping the support staff. It could be helping us work health fairs and events, or as simple as working our annual dinner. So we will take it any way we can get it.
Okay.
It takes a community to keep things going, and our volunteers are really the backbone of our organization.
Now, what events do you have coming up that if someone is interested in participating in, they can?
Well, we are staring down, I can't believe we're going to say this, but we are staring down October. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is probably our biggest month around. We raise awareness all year, but locally, nationally, even globally, October is really the push to do as much as you can in the community to raise awareness. And so we hold our annual Celebration of Hope dinner. This year it's on Thursday, October 22nd. But it's probably our largest fundraiser for the organization. We do a silent auction and a raffle, but then we're really just looking for the community to come out and buy tickets and be part of the really special event.
Now, you have different programs that you have operational now. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the programs that you offer to the community?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of times people hear safe homes and they always think shelter. And shelter is certainly one of our programs. We have a 17-bed facility in Orange County that provides services for victims for emergency shelter. Mm-hmm. But it's actually the smallest program of all of our agency. Our largest program is our non-residential program. And our non-residential program provides emergency needs, so talking food, clothing. We provide court accompaniment, law enforcement accompaniment. We provide accompaniment to hospitals. We have crisis counseling and ongoing therapeutic counseling. We run support groups. So we also have a program within Child Protective Services. We have a program within the District Attorney's Office. So we really have connected and coordinated with so many agencies in the community,
right,
to reduce the impact of re-victimization for victims of domestic violence.
If somebody wants to help, what areas do you have available for them to help your organization?
Well, we have a really incredible volunteer program. And so volunteering can look very different for everyone. And the level of volunteering is really up to the individual. So we really encourage people to contact us, fill out a volunteer application that you can get online, but also fax are sent to you. And then you meet with our volunteer coordinator and get an idea of what your interest would be. It could be working directly with clients. It could be helping the support staff. It could be helping us work health fairs and events, or as simple as working our annual dinner. So we will take it any way we can get it.
Okay.
It takes a community to keep things going, and our volunteers are really the backbone of our organization.
Now, what events do you have coming up that if someone is interested in participating in, they can?
Well, we are staring down, I can't believe we're going to say this, but we are staring down October. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is probably our biggest month around. We raise awareness all year, but locally, nationally, even globally, October is really the push to do as much as you can in the community to raise awareness. And so we hold our annual Celebration of Hope dinner. This year it's on Thursday, October 22nd. But it's probably our largest fundraiser for the organization. We do a silent auction and a raffle, but then we're really just looking for the community to come out and buy tickets and be part of the really special event. We honor several people in the community on the wonderful work that they're doing. This year we're honoring someone from the town of Montgomery Police Department. We're honoring the Warwick Humane Society for the amazing work that they've done. They really donated all of their time as well as their facility so that victims didn't have to choose between safety and leaving their animals.
Right. Oh,
it's
wow.
just
I didn't
amazing.
even think of that.
Yeah, I mean, so many people were having to choose between leaving and going to shelter or staying because they had animals.
Right.
And the Warwick Humane Society opened up their doors without any resources and said, we will find a way. And we've been very lucky over the last couple of years to partner a little funding with that. In this day and age, there's because of the way our organization and all domestic violence organizations have gone, we rely very heavily on state and federal funding and local funding. And in difficult times, those are the first potential on the chopping block. Every year, domestic violence funding is on the chopping block at the governor's budget level. And then even locally, you're taking, a 10% cut here, a 25% cut there. So I think the difficulty is always making sure sustainability,
Right.
that the victims' needs are getting greater, and we're having to build capacity, needing more staff to meet the needs. And so I think funding is probably the biggest issue internally that we struggle with on a day-to-day basis.
If someone feels uncomfortable in their relationship, what are some of the signs that they may be a victim of domestic violence?
Well, I think the difficulty sometimes is most people don't identify as being victims of domestic violence, but it's a lot of times looking at red flags and seeing potentially where you may feel unsafe. So we're looking at people if they're feeling isolated, if there's an inequality in their relationship, if there's name calling. So we're looking at emotional abuse, being put down, making feel like you're less than. When we're looking at physical abuse is often more obvious than all of the other tactics of control. We could be looking at emotional and psychological abuse or financial abuse, even though you bring money into the household, not having access to your own resources, not knowing what the resources are in your home. So looking at a lot of red flags and seeing if you identify with one or two of those red flags, knowing where you could potentially call and ask more questions.
Right. Well, I would imagine that if you caught a situation before it was really out of control, that it would be much easier to deal with the situation.
Well, I think the difficulty is that we really want to focus on healing and helping victims move forward, and also keeping the focus on, when we're looking at the abuse and the tactics of control, at the abuser. So never questioning, why doesn't she leave, but always saying, why does he abuse? And really looking at the person that's responsible for the abuse is the only person that can make it stop. And in the meantime, making sure that we have the resources in place for victims when they need it, and meeting victims where they're at, regardless of where they're at.
Now, you have different programs that you have operational now. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the programs that you offer to the community?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of times people hear safe homes and they always think shelter. And shelter is certainly one of our programs. We have a 17-bed facility in Orange County that provides services for victims for emergency shelter. Mm-hmm. But it's actually the smallest program of all of our agency. Our largest program is our non-residential program. And our non-residential program provides emergency needs, so talking food, clothing. We provide court accompaniment, law enforcement accompaniment. We provide accompaniment to hospitals. We have crisis counseling and ongoing therapeutic counseling. We run support groups. So we also have a program within Child Protective Services. We have a program within the District Attorney's Office. So we really have connected and coordinated with so many agencies in the community,
right,
to reduce the impact of re-victimization for victims of domestic violence.
So you also work with them to find out the cause or the root cause of them getting involved in a relationship that was abusive.
Well, we work with victims to provide them healing and support and services. Mm-hmm. I mean, the biggest problem is that there's this, probably going back to that myth and misconception.
Right.
No one goes on the date for the first time and gets punched in the face and identifies. The problem with domestic violence is it's, for the abuser, it's ongoing, it's calculated, it's extremely manipulative, which is why it can happen to anyone. And oftentimes, victims aren't able to identify when the abuse started and where they are in the abuse. And so it's helping victims heal, but it's also forcing the other systems, so the criminal justice system, the civil justice system, to hold offenders or abusers accountable for their actions.
Right. So a lot of the people that are involved in your organization are driven to make the planet a better place.
Yeah, I think we all come from it, whether we're survivors or victims, whether we know someone or have known someone. I mean, we know that 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in a lifetime. So we know that every woman in this world knows someone impacted, or they themselves have been impacted. And I think it's almost like, once you know what you know, you have two choices. You can either turn your back and then have to acknowledge the injustice and do nothing, or you have to look it in the face and make the changes so the world's better.
Okay, well that's exactly what we want to expose on empowering women everywhere. We want to spotlight the the work that you're doing. We want people to get involved in helping, and we also want people to, if they know someone that's suffering, whether it's a male or a female. You also have male people, men that contact your organization.
We work with all victims of domestic violence.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's not just a married situation.
No.
And from what you were telling me before, there is no strata or social strata where this occurs.
Correct. Absolutely. It can happen to anyone. And we're really looking at all races, all socioeconomic statuses, as well as gender, and realizing that we serve everyone.
Right. I know that there's some people that say, well, you married him or you married her, or but really, basically, in the dating process, you don't see that side of the person.
No, I mean, there's a grooming process that happens. Remember, I said earlier that you don't go on the first date. It's really methodical. A lot of the things that set the ball in motion are well-intentioned things. I think an example I could give you is that, you get a phone on a family plan, and in a healthy relationship, when you purchase a phone on a family plan, there's no deviousness about that. But when a domestic violence abuser gives a victim a phone, it's to track them and to make sure that they know where they are at all times. But for everyone, we all want to be in a healthy relationship.
Right.
And so a lot of the things that are set up initially as well-intentioned are difficult for the victim to realize that they are often used as tactics of control.
Right. And basically, the victim is not the one that's, responsible for doing something wrong. I know a lot of times people feel that, I've heard people say, well, you married him or you decided you wanted to go out with him, but that when you first meet someone, they're on their best behavior.
Right.
So it's no shame for you to be in a situation where you need help, and that's why you're there, is to help people.
Well, we always say they don't wear a sign on them that says that they're going to be an abuser. I mean, and
Right.
I always say I want to take a billboard out, and I want to continue to this paradigm shift of we need to stop asking why doesn't she leave and start asking why he abuses. Why does the abuser use the abuse?
Right.
And we have to shift our thinking and realize that the victim has no control over the situation, that the only person in control is the one using the violence.
Right. If someone has, if they want to contribute, what are some of the things that you need? I mean, I would imagine diapers, wipes,
You name it, we'll take it.
toiletries.
I mean, the bottom line is that on our website we have a list of things. We have a food pantry, so we take non-perishable foods throughout the year. We take, people do drives for us for personal hygiene items. We could never have enough new sheets and pillowcases for our shelter. We partnered with Bloomingdale's in New Windsor because a lot of times people have a lot of stuff,
Right.
and we don't have a lot of capacity to hold that stuff. But partnering with Bloomingdale's, they have a furniture consignment place, so that if your furniture sells there and you want to give a portion back of the proceeds to Safe Homes, you can do that. And for all the clothes that you donate, at the end, Bloomingdale's is giving us a $500 donation at the end of the year. So it's a win-win situation for Safe Homes, and I think for the community as well, people who are looking to give stuff away. But we could take gas cards and grocery cards. But really, I think the bottom line is contacting us, because we've had some exceptional groups, church organizations that have done some amazing drives. They've adopted the children in our shelter for Christmas. They've adopted the moms for Mother's Day. They've really done some amazing creative work. So I think when people are interested in partnering with us, to give us a call, and we'll look at your skill set and meet you where you're at. And nothing is too small.
The thing that I've always found when you're doing something is you can do a lot by yourself, but when you partner with other people, it's just phenomenal about the energy and about the changes that you can do. And it sounds like you have a great organization.
Right. Well, I think the biggest thing is Orange County is a really great county, and we work really together collaboratively.
Right.
And I think the bottom line is that you're right, you pool your resources, because victims of domestic violence are everywhere. And so when people say to us, well, what's in it for me? The bottom line is that they could be working with you. They could be your sister, your mother, your brother. You'd have no idea.
Exactly.
And so the bottom line is that, you give a little, you get even more in return, and it goes a long way. And by just even helping out, you'd be surprised. Someone may be safe enough or feel safe enough to say to you, you know what, that happened to me too. And that's really just by being open to the idea that it can happen to anyone.
Right, and there's no shame in it. I mean, it could happen to anyone.
Right.
Do you find that the social strata is one particular, or do you find it...
No, I think that's probably the biggest myth, is that it happens to a certain socioeconomic status or certain group of people, but really it can happen to anyone.
Right.
Anyone can be a victim, because in the end it's about the abuser and their choice. And so unfortunately anyone is prey to a victim of domestic violence. And I think we have to start or continue talking to the community about the fact that it really impacts all of us.
Right. And basically the victim is not the one that's, responsible for doing something wrong. I know a lot of times people feel that, I've heard people say, well, you married him, or you decided you wanted to go out with him, but that, when you first meet someone, they're on their best behavior.
Right.
So it's no shame for you to be in a situation where you need help, and that's why you're there, is to help people.
Well, we always say they don't wear a sign on them that says that they're going to be an abuser. I mean, and
Right.
I always say I want to take a billboard out, and I want to continue to this paradigm shift of, we need to stop asking why doesn't she leave and start asking why he abuses. Why does the abuser use the abuse?
Right.
And we have to shift our thinking and realize that the victim has no control over the situation, that the only person in control is the one using the violence.
Right. Someone is questioning or is feeling uncomfortable in their domestic situation, and they decide to call the hotline. Is this confidential, or how does this work?
Well, the best thing is that, yes, I mean, we're a nonprofit agency, and our basic mission is about empowering people to make their own choices, informed choices. And so we don't tell anybody what to do. And with that, we're also a confidential agency. So you don't even have to tell us your name when you call us. We really want to create a safe place for anyone to be able to call and ask any question they need to ask. And even if we were to provide you services, it's around confidentiality. And you make the informed choice on what information we share or don't share.
Now, if somebody wants to get tickets, or if they want to contribute to the silent auction, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, you can always contact us at our business line, which is 845-562-5365. We have a 24-hour hotline, which is 888-503-4673. We also have a webpage, which is www.safehomesorangecounty.org. And because of my wonderful youth educators, we've also become extremely busy on social media. So we have a Facebook page, a Tumblr page, a Twitter page,
Oh my.
and an Instagram page.
Okay.
So I think we can be found almost anywhere at this point.
Right. So as far as your Facebook page, if they go on Facebook, be sure to like it. Everybody like
Yes,
it.
please. We're trying to get as many likes as we can.
And keep, the notifications. You want to make sure your notifications are on so you can find out all the events that are going on at Safe Homes.
You can always join our mailing list. They can do that through our not only our Facebook page, but also through our webpage.
Right. So there's plenty to do. So KellyAnn, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being a friend to Safe Homes.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nan Gill Wilson, and I'm the host on Empowering Women Everywhere. Empowering Women Everywhere is a show that highlights the great work that's being done by people in our community. If you know of somebody that's doing great work and you want them to appear on our show, please contact us at empoweringwomeneverywhere.tv or call us at 845-294-7500. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day.
I've been looking